The forest swallowed her scream. Lisa's breath came in ragged gasps as she backed away from the encroaching figures, each one identical to the last, motionless except for their rhythmic tapping, like a deathly heartbeat in the air. She knew she couldn't run forever, but her legs moved on instinct, pushing her deeper into the woods. Her phone vibrated again. She didn't want to look, but something compelled her to. The screen flickered to life. "Stop running." Her heart pounded against her ribs, but her feet slowed involuntarily. The figures stopped too, their hollow eyes locked on her, smiles stretching wider in the moonlight. "Why are they just watching?" she thought, her breath catching. "What do they want?" A branch snapped behind her. Before she could react, a hand wrapped around her wrist, cold, skeletal, its grip like iron. Lisa's scream echoed through the trees as she was yanked backward, crashing to the ground. She twisted, looking up into the face of another figure. His eyes, lifeless and dark, stared down at her, his grin frozen in place. The phone buzzed in her hand. "Let them in." Her body trembled uncontrollably as the figure released her, stepping back into the line of identical shadows. All of them stood in perfect silence, their faces frozen in that same eerie smile. Slowly, one by one, they pointed behind her, toward the house. Lisa stood, stumbling toward the tree line, her mind racing. Something was waiting for her back there. She could feel it. The woods were no sanctuary. Every path led back to the house. With no other choice, she began the long walk back, the tapping following her like an ominous pulse. The house loomed in front of her, dark and silent, as if it had been abandoned for years. The front door was open, a black void calling to her. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look but found herself unlocking the screen. They're inside. Lisa stepped into the house. The door slammed shut behind her with a finality that chilled her to the bone. The air was thick, suffocating, and the tapping, louder now, inside the walls, underneath the floors. Her feet dragged her to the window where it all started. The glass was cracked now, smeared with the figure's smile, and in the reflection, she saw them. The figures, no longer outside, now stood behind her in the room, filling every corner, their eyes locked on her. Her phone buzzed once more, the message chilling her to her core. "Now, you're one of us." Her hands, shaking uncontrollably, reached for her face. It was happening. Her skin stretched into a sickening grin, her eyes hollowing, her body freezing in place. She couldn't scream. She couldn't run. She was one of them now. And they were always watching.